Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Brunch with Mike Missanelli. You know, this every week we do a review of the game the Eagles just played, and today's a Victory Monday. Yes, sir. After two straight losses, the Eagles break through with a 31 to nothing shutout over the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, never mind that it was against maybe the worst football team I've seen in 30 years. I've come to praise the Eagles today and not to bury them. But the Eagles with a get well game against a lousy team. Good teams take care of business. The Eagles took care of business by shutting that team out. We'll have some stats on that in just a little bit. But it was a great formula for the win. This is the Eagle formula. They won that game with the Eagles formula, which is great D, have a running attack, have a conservative passing attack, and that's the way you win. Now, and you use Jalen Hurts a little more carrying the football with his legs. That's what happened. Jalen had a really, really efficient day. Not an outstanding game, but he didn't need to be outstanding. Very efficient game. And afterwards, I thought got a little snarky in his presser with all the heat he took last week, at least the fictional heat of them saying he should be replaced by Tanner McKee. I think he remembered that in the post-game presser. He had kind of a different tone to it. But anyway, let's look at some of my observations for this game. The Eagles actually in this game had an offensive identity. Now, we haven't seen that in a really long time. Under center, runs that led to play action. When they go under center, the running game is better, and that gets you into play action, and he also fortifies your running attack. RPOs, shovel passes with tight end in motion, on kind of like a jet sweep motion on that shovel pass. So all that was really different than what we've seen. But let's face it, it was the defense yesterday. It was outstanding. A masterpiece by Vic Fangio, masterclass. First shutout since December 30th of 2018. Here's a stat on Quinyon Mitchell, who wasn't really brought up much in the game. Why? Because they never threw to a side. Quinyon had his seventh game allowing 10 or fewer yards in coverage this season. That's the best of any corner in the league. Also some stats that we must mention on their defense. The Eagles outgained the Raiders by 312 yards. They allowed only 75 total yards to the Raiders. And in their 95-year history, there have only been 7 games where they've allowed fewer yards than that. Fifth largest margin since 1955, that 312-yard margin, and largest since they outgained the Rams by 356 in 2008, which was a 38-3 win. The Eagles, believe it or not, look at this stat. They allowed just 1.79 yards per play, this courtesy of NBC Sports Philly. That's the second lowest in franchise history. In 1992, they allowed 1.45 yards per game in a 2017 overtime win over the Seahawks. I don't know how many people remember these things that I'm going back on, because I certainly don't remember them, but I've had to track them down on when's the last time they did this. 29 net passing yards for the Raiders offense on our old pal Kenny Pickett. That's the sixth fewest since 1960, and the fewest since they allowed 21 over Matt Hasselbeck and the Seahawks in 2000. I remember that game. Matt Hasselbeck was terrible in that game. 21 passing yards, and it was only the second time since 1955 and the first time since 1991 that the Eagles have held a team to fewer than 50 rushing yards in both passing and rushing. In 1991, I know every Eagle historian remembers this. They held the Cowboys to 45 in both rushing and passing in a 24-0 win at Texas Stadium. That was the game they sacked Troy Aikman 11 times. It's when the Cowboys were trying to rebuild their franchise, and they were horrible. But I don't know if any team could be as horrible as the Las Vegas Raiders that we saw yesterday. Jalen Hurts, as opposed to last week, a very clean game, as we mentioned, 12 for 15, 175, 3 touchdowns, 154.9 rating. That's almost a perfect rating. He also had 7 carries for 39 yards. They got the RPO going. Dallas Goedert with 2 touchdowns, both on shovel passes, one on a little jet sweep action, which I thought was a really interesting formation. They hit a deep ball to Devontae Smith for 50 yards. They hit a beauty in the seams to A.J. Brown for the touchdown, where he lined up in the slot and got somehow in between 3 defenders from the Raiders to make that catch for the touchdown. And Brandon Graham with 2 sacks playing defensive tackle for the Eagles yesterday. One had to be wiped away. Unfortunately, it was a moot play, because Cooper DeJean got a sportsmanlike conduct penalty on that, so they had to wipe out the play. But how about Brandon Graham with the Fountain of Youth showing up yesterday? And here's the big question. When we look at this and we look at how good their defense was, how good their offense was, how diversified it was, how different it looked, how they got the running game going. I think they had 47 rushes to like 19 passes or whatever the disparity was. They stuck to a formula that wins for the Philadelphia Eagles. So we'll see coming down the stretch whether they do the same thing. Now, the only test they're going to really have, I think, is against the Buffalo Bills. If they can win beating the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo using the Eagle formula, then I'll be really optimistic about their chances in the playoffs. All right, let's look at our stats for the game, our box score for the game. Jalen Hurts, again, we mentioned 12 for 15. Tanner McKee did get in there. He completed all 3 of his passes for 33 yards. Saquon Barkley, 22 carries for 78 yards, an average of 3.5. Not great, but he had a long of 17, and he had a touchdown. Tank Bigsby got 17 carries in there in this game, 57 yards. Hurts again carrying 7 times for 39 yards, and Tanner McKee with 1 carry for 9 yards. Dallas Goedert with 7 targets. He caught 6 balls for the Eagles yesterday. 6 for 70 yards for Dallas Goedert. Devontae Smith had 2 big catches for 50 yards. A.J. Brown, 2 big ones for 41. Darius Cooper got involved with 2 catches. Saquon Barkley twice out of the backfield. Calcaterra had a small catch. So there you go, our stats. If we look at the Las Vegas stats, oh, my God. Kenny Pickett, 15 for 25 for 64 yards. Ashton Jaunty, I tell you, the people that say you don't take a running back that high, this guy has really got smashed up this year. 9 carries for 35 yards, has not nearly been the impact player they thought he was, because he's a running back. If you don't have a good offensive line, you don't have a good offensive scheme, it doesn't matter how good that running back is coming out of the draft. Brock Bowers, the stud, 6 catches for 28 yards, though. They held him down pretty well. And that's about it for the Las Vegas Raiders. So let's get to our sounds of the game. Nick Sirianni, first of all, not listening to the outside noise during this 2-game slide and 4 of their last 5. Here's what Nick had to say. This is cut number 2, Matt.
Own confidence, you control your own joy when there's a lot of noise out there. You control all that. And what I saw from the entire team was, for the last couple weeks, regardless of the circumstances, we've been committed to playing Eagle football and doing the things we need to do to play Eagle football. That's tough, detailed together, and that happens during the week. If we rode the wave of the outside noise, then you're not able to do that. I just thought we did a great job the last couple weeks of zoning in on what we needed to do, and going to work every single day and not letting outside circumstances dictate anything how we feel.
All right. Listen, they played the Raiders yesterday, right? So not dealing with the outside noise. I get it. They didn't deal with the outside. There's something to be said for that. There's something to be said for a head coach who gets them back winning and gets them back into a winning formula. I got all that. But, that Raiders team was hardly representative of an NFL football team. So you got to take that in perspective. Now, the outside noise is always going to come. And I think he understands it. I'm not sure he does, but I think he understands that the outside noise, when you lose 2 games in a row, when you are held to a standard of Super Bowl talent level, then people are going to react when you lose a couple games. When you lose 4 or 5, there is going to be outside noise. So if you don't listen to it, that's fine, Nick. But just understand that there is going to be that noise for any football team, really. I mean, it's Philadelphia, and we take it hardcore more than a lot of fan bases. But the fact of the matter is, if you're a highly rated team, you're a good team, and you go on a losing streak and you lose your offensive identity completely, people are going to squawk about it. Now, to that note, before we get back to Nick, Austin Tillotson, and you can join the chat here on Birds Brunch with Mike Missanelli. Mike, would love to understand what your perspective is on these calls from media personalities in Philly to bench Jalen. Honestly, I think many of us are particularly pissed off about these calls for a benching. It's irrational and uncalled for. It's a quick way to run a successful team on the field and off the field quarterback, to run a successful quarterback out of Philly in the future. Well, see, I don't believe in this run them out of town nonsense. People, we have the fans have no bearing on running a player out of town. All right. legitimate criticism is going to come. Now, as far as benching Jalen Hurts, it's a ridiculous thought, first of all. Now, once it's out there, the media who gloms onto that and asks questions about it, that's fair commentary. But it's like a hot button topic for some sports talk radio nerd to come out and say, well, should we bench Jalen Hurts for Tanner McKee? On what green earth do you think Tanner McKee would be better than Jalen Hurts? It doesn't make any sense for you to even question that. But once the question comes up, then it's the media's responsibility to follow up on that and ask the people who are involved in the situation what they think about that. So that's my opinion on that. Kevin Patullo yesterday, I thought had a really good offensive game plan. If Nick Sirianni getting involved in the offense is helping this situation, if he's saying, listen, here's our identity. This is what we do. We run the football, and we're going to run it more than we pass it. We're going to be conservative on our passing. We're going to take the ball under center a lot so we can set up play action, and then we'll hit a big play or two. And that's going to be enough for us to win because we're that good on defense. It's a formula that really you should stick to every week. Sometimes they vary. Sometimes the offensive game plan is not as diversified as it was yesterday. But yesterday, I thought they did a really good job. All right, let's get back to Nick. We already know he doesn't listen to the outside noise during this slide. That's good. That's what a head coach should do. That's the message he should preach to his team. He should ignore us completely. But the variation on offense, the under center calls, the RPOs, the offensive wrinkles. Here's what the head coach had to say about that. This is Nick 3.
Staples of part in our offense for a long time. And, we're just continue to use things that we think fit for that week. Next week we could come out and I haven't watched anything on Washington, but next week we could come out and it could be a completely different game. We have core philosophies and visions of our identity. But, we'll see, and you want to do those things, but we'll see how this week plays itself out.
All righty, there you go. By the way, I misspoke. It was they went on a 3-game losing streak at 4 or 5. I said 4 or 5, but I didn't say the 3 in a row. So when you lose 3 in a row, yeah, there's panic city. Just on that note, because I want to expand upon this talk radio situation, because I did talk radio for a lot of years. I never intentionally tried to stoke a flame. I always had my honest opinion out there, and if they stunk, I said they stunk. If they were good, I said they stunk. I would never, ever have suggested an asinine thing just to get the blood flowing. This is what I think some sports talk hosts do. They say something outlandish to get people to respond to the outlandishness of it. In a way, that's what sports talk radio is. But there's also like a point where you have to be honest with yourself. And if you're being honest with yourself by saying that Tanner McKee should be the starting quarterback in place of Jalen Hurts, you just come off like an idiot. I never wanted to come off like an idiot. So I would never have pushed the hottest take button that I could push. All right. So let's do that. All right. Ryan Pulley, anything positive to take from this game moving forward, or not really because of their opponent? Well, there's plenty of positive to take from it. I mean, my God, their offensive attack was very diversified. They ran some scheme yesterday, which I thought was necessary for them. So if that's a maturation of Kevin Patullo, I'll take it. So you have to disregard that it was the opponent when it comes to them trying these different things that obviously worked. All right. One more from Nick Sirianni talking about his defensive performance. Vic Fangio with a master class yesterday. Here's what Nick had to say about the defense.
We were able to, get them in. We were able to stop the run and get them in pass situations, and then we were able to get after the quarterback. So really good team defense. But those, BG was the first one to say it in there. Like sacks don't happen without great coverage in the secondary. So it was just great team defense by the entire crew. Vic did a great job, and the coaches did a good job of preparing them and putting them in positions to succeed, and our guys did a good job of executing.
Yeah, Moro Ajamo had a big sack in there. And I thought Jalix Hunt made a play that was kind of unnoticed, where he grabbed the jersey and slowed up the quarterback so he gets sacked by Brandon Graham on that play. So I'll throw a shout out to him as well. All right, let's get to Jalen. Now, I don't know. If I was Jalen Hurts, how would I handle the ridiculous idea that I would get benched for Tanner McKee because I had a lackluster game. I would like to think I'm mature enough to ignore that, but yesterday I could tell in his voice, it was like, yeah, this was unfair treatment of me. But let's go with first of all his post-game chat with Pam Oliver about the win and how much it means for the Eagles.
All right, Jalen, a badly needed win, silences the critics probably for a couple of minutes, but what did you guys take from a victory like this after what's been going on the last few weeks?
I just think it's good to win. Good to win. We put a lot of work in, come out here and performed at a high level, found a way to win.
What did you want to do personally coming into this ball game? After the Chargers game, you were pretty adamant that you felt like you hadn't been doing your job. So how does this kind of erase some of those strong feelings?
I wanted to win. That's simple.
It's all about winning.
It is.
Tell me about adversity. You guys have had it, you continue to overcome it, and just how do you guys continue to one foot in front of the other, just sort of handle your business, be diligent, all of those things we spoke about this week?
Success isn't linear. You know, you're going to go through things. You got to be able to overcome it and respond to it the right way. And so, I think everything that we've experienced has been a setup and an opportunity for us to overcome and rise above it. And so we just got to continue to stay together as a team and do that.
We saw you land awkwardly on your ankle. Anything going on there?
I don't know what's going on just yet. I'm happy we won. I'll be okay though.
It's nothing worse for an interviewer than you think what you think is a good question, and he gives you a 3-word answer. We just wanted to win. And you go, where do I go next? What's my brain? Well, you go through the parameters of what you can ask based off of that. But Jalen's a little different, except for the fact that he was Jalen, always being Jalen with success isn't linear, which is a typical, Jalen from the Jalen inspirational quote book. Yeah, I think he was bugged a little bit. Let's get to him on the podium after the game. The way he leads and reminds people how he is built for this on the question.
Everybody's watching. It just comes with it. And it hasn't changed. I think everybody needs to remember where I come from and how I'm built. So I just want to lead in the right way, set the right example. Done the same thing since I went to the University of Alabama and, everything that's been in front of me, so it's no different now.
Didn't mention the University of Oklahoma. No Oklahoma love. All right. Well, we're okay. Let's get to Saquon Barkley. Saquon, when asked about how the offense had changed a little bit and how it looked a lot better this particular week, here's what he had to say about getting caught up in the wrong things.
It's always important. It's always a good feeling when you win. I feel like we got caught up in stuff that doesn't matter. Only thing that matters is winning football. And that's up for you guys to dictate how it's supposed to look and do your job and write about it. But no matter what, if it's 31-0 or if it's by 1, if it's 3-0, as long as the Philadelphia Eagles has more points than the other team when the clock hits 0, that's the thing that matters most. And whatever we need to improve on, you go back and you do it. And same thing with the mindset here. We got a pretty convincing win here and pitch a shutout and put up 30 points. But the mindset is always the same. You got to move on and get ready and improve, and we look forward to that against a division opponent.
Did you see this kind of performance coming from Jalen after a rougher game against the Chargers?
It's football. Everyone's gonna have days that we don't like, but tomorrow's gonna come. You gotta be ready for the next opportunity. And we had a great performance as an offense. We had a great performance on defense, but everything that we did today has no impact on what's going to happen Saturday. And that's the truth of it. That's the nature of this business. We got to move on and get ready and try to find a way to get another one.
And, of course, it's Saturday against the Commanders. These guys are really interesting to me. Saquon does it better than anybody, where he goes from week to week kind of saying things that are kind of good quotes for people, but really just warming over the words. They're not giving you any kind of new revelations. They're just kind of rewarming some words on what they think is necessary to say. And Saquon does that better than anybody. That was a classic example of it. All right. So what does it mean? I don't know. We'll see. The offense has to play like it did yesterday. The defense is going to be there, I think, as we get into a playoff situation. So what was the situation with the offense? Dallas Goedert weighed in on that about cleaner offensive play and how that helps the whole design of what they are.
Yeah, I mean, it felt really good. I feel like the flow of the offense looked really good today, and that's a big part of it. You know, when you get a positive play and then you have to stop for a penalty, bring it back, get the ball set. You can't go on the ball. You can't use tempo. And I think we had a good balance of all that today. So I think playing clean football is definitely something we need to continue to do.
All right, let's take our first break from the show. We'll come back and I'll go over my play-by-play. You know, the way I watch a game is I watch every series, and I detail every series on what happens in every series. And the Eagles scored 3 of the 4 times they had the ball in the first half to take that big 17-0 lead into the first half. We'll tell you how they did it after this. This is Birds Brunch with Mike Missanelli.
This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. Every champion needs a good game plan. BCWSA and I want to make sure you have a game plan when it comes to conserving our most precious resource, water. Whether you're washing dishes, brushing your teeth, or watering your garden, there are ways you can save water and save money. Visit bcwsa.net for tips on conserving water. BCWSA, proven.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Warm up this fall with an incredible seafood boil. Try the Uncle George with succulent snow crabs, tasty mussels, and shrimp. There's the Pete's Feast with 2 pounds of sweet succulent crab legs, a dozen shrimp, clams, and a pound of mussels. Or create your own boil. Add a lobster tail or a delicious Dungeness cluster. Include smoked sausage, corn, and potatoes, served in our tasty broth, made with white wine and our signature seasonings. A shellfish lover's dream at Chickies and Pete's.
Think banking hasn't changed? Think again. At Penn Community Bank, we've been helping communities thrive for 150 years. From our nationally recognized Access Checking that offers the peace of mind of no overdrafts, to student and free checking plus options with perks that will make you wonder what you did without them, like early direct deposit, overdraft grace, and Zelle. Learn more at penncommunitybank.com/products. Penn Community Bank. Here we grow. Account and feature terms, restrictions, and conditions apply. Ask for full details. Member FDIC.
Yes, it is Birds Brunch with Mike Missanelli, and we'd love for the people to chime in on the chat board. I got to wonder what people's motivations are, though, sometimes about being negative or overly positive. Like our man Buck Nasty, he's an avid listener. We appreciate it, Buck. But Buck chats in, Eagles will get bounced in round 1. Now, after a game like this, what would make you think, like, the first thought that comes to your mind are going to get bounced in round 1? That's just being a part of Negadelphia. That's a negative feeling. And I don't know where it comes from. Buck Nasty also has 2 more that he puts out there. The offense will need to play Oakland every week. Yuck, yuck. All right, I get it. He's got the emoji there. They say the crying emoji. And then he has one more where he says, we just going to ignore that this is the same defense that Shedeur beat. Shedeur Sanders last week beat the Las Vegas Raiders. Listen, I get all that. I try to put it in perspective. This is the worst football team they played at maybe I've seen in the 30 years. But that doesn't mean that they didn't do things really well yesterday. When you shut out an NFL team, it's an NFL team. These are professional players. When you shut a team out, that's saying something that you did on defense. And on offense, you were much more diversified. So I don't know how you could be displeased with what happened yesterday. You can put it in perspective and say, okay, if this happens against the Bills, then we're really golden. We're really feeling good about ourselves. But you're not gonna come to that conclusion after you play a team like the Las Vegas Raiders or even the Commanders twice more. It's that game against the Bills would be the big measuring stick as you go into the playoffs. All right, let's go into our play-by-play, folks. Raiders and Eagles. Eagles' first drive started at the 33. They got 3 third-down conversions, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 4, and a 3rd and 6. And that was at the Raiders' 10 to Smith, where they got the first down. And then on 2nd and goal, the shovel pass to Goedert for the TD. To me, that was my play of the game. They go 13 plays, 67 yards. It's also my drive of the game right there. Eagles 7-0. All right, on the Raiders' first possession, Graham got his first sack. BG got his first sack, but 2 penalties on Cooper DeJean, a hold and unsportsmanlike conduct kind of wiped out the play. Pickett was also sacked by Moro Ojamo in that series. So the Eagles get it back, and they immediately get a touchdown out of it. The bomb to Smith for 44 yards. They have a 2nd and 3 at the Raiders' 19. They get a PI at the 5 that was intended for Cooper. Then Goedert can't handle a TD pass. The one thing he didn't do yesterday, that was a touchdown pass right in his hands in the clear, and he fumbled it. But that Crosby had sacked Hurts on 3rd and goal on that, so they had to settle for a 27-yard field goal. That was disappointing. And in a lot of ways, you're going, that should be a touchdown. Is that going to come back to hurt him? And that was foolish because there's no way the Raiders were going to hurt him yesterday. They punted on their the 3rd drive was their only punt of the first half. BG got his 2nd sack on the Raiders' 3rd possession. And on the Eagles' 4th possession, they start at their own 30. Bigsby got 8 to the 50. Hurts to Goedert for a first down. Goedert again for 14 yards and another first down to the 17. On a 3rd and 3, important down, Hurts scrambled for the first down, and then Barkley for the plunge TD with 1:54 left. That was his 6th TD of the season. That by that time, the Eagles had 22 plays in Raider territory. So they were dominating from the jump. 17-0 in the first half. We go to the second half. Their first drive of the second half results in another touchdown. Another crossing pattern throw to Goedert looked very nice. Jalen was 84% against zone coverage in the game to that point. Then they get it to AJ. He gets to the 24. Barkley runs it to the 19. Hurts rushes 13 yards for a first down to 14. Saquon gets to the 7-yard line, and then the shovel pass to Goedert off jet sweep motion at 4:52 to give him a 24-0 lead. Nolan Smith got a sack on the next drive, the next series for the Raiders. The Eagles took over at their own 40. Barkley for 17. That was his big gain for the day. Hurts down the middle from 24 to A.J. Brown over the middle for a touchdown. A thing of beauty, a beautifully designed play where A.J. in the slot does like a skinny post and gets kind of wedges in between. There were 3 Las Vegas Raider defenders on that play, and they get a touchdown, 31-0. At that point, Tanner McKee is in the game. Jalen Hurts bench for Tanner McKee. This just in. No, you got to get him out of the game at 31-0. So there you go. By the way, Bigsby was denied a touchdown on 4th down due to a penalty. Okay, I think that was about it for the play-by-play. Yep. Let's look at our playoff bracket right now. Our playoff bracket has number 1, the Rams. Now, this is for the people that don't think they're going to win in the first round because we know what that match is going to be. The Rams right now in a position to get the bye. The Bears have moved up to 2. They had been up there. They dropped all the way down to 7. They went back up to 2. Bears are 2, Eagles 3, Bucks 4. They're the division winners. Seahawks are 5, 49ers 6, Packers are 7. That means the Eagles right now still play the San Francisco 49ers. So there you go. Do you like that match right now? Do you think the Eagles are playing better football than the 49ers? Do you think the Eagles are a better team than the 49ers? I certainly think so. And that game is going to have to be here. So although it's when you look at the first round matches, you could get the Seahawks in the first round if you slide a little, but they're not going to slide from that 3 spot. That 3 spot is pretty much solidified for the Eagles. So you're looking at who's going to finish 6th. Will it be the Packers? Will it be the 49ers? Will it be the Seahawks? So to take your pick on that particular situation. All right, let's take another break here. We'll come back. We'll go around the NFL for some highlights on what happened on a day where a lot of ACLs got ripped apart, sadly. We'll be back after this. It's Brunch with Mike Missanelli.
Flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City. The Peruzzi Automotive Group on Business Route 1 in Fairless Hills is looking for auto techs, all skill levels. Here's a chance to work for a locally owned family business that offers many benefits. For more information, call the service director, John Damarodis, at 215-943-6200. That's 215-943-6200, or visit any Peruzzi service department.
Think banking hasn't changed? Think again. At Penn Community Bank, we've been helping communities thrive for 150 years. From our nationally recognized Access checking that offers the peace of mind of no overdrafts, to student and free checking plus options with perks that will make you wonder what you did without them, like early direct deposit, overdraft grace, and Zelle. Learn more at PennCommunityBank.com/products. Penn Community Bank. Here we grow. Account and feature terms, restrictions, and conditions apply. Ask for full details. Member FDIC.
All right, we're back on Birds Brunch with Mike Missanelli. Let's go around the NFL to find out what happened. First of all, the really unfortunate news for Chiefs fans as Patrick Mahomes goes down with an ACL, and Micah Parsons for the Packers. That is a devastating loss for the Packers. That makes the Packers, that makes them contenders to not so much contenders, even if they get in the playoffs. So we'll start around the NFL with the Patriots and the Bills. Josh Allen throwing 3 touchdown passes. James Cook running for 2. He caught another. The Bills rally from a 21-0 deficit. When you look at this game, and if you bet New England, you thought you were on the right side of this game. But the Bills roar back to win 35-31. Allen, the 19-28 for 193. Cook, 22 carries for 107. The Bills were on the hook for getting swept by a division opponent for the first time in a long time. But Buffalo now reaches to 10 wins for the 7th consecutive season. The Patriots lost their first division game of the season, and their 10-game win streak ended. They haven't won the AFC title since 2019, but they still lead the Bills by 1 game with 3 games left. This was a battle of the highlights. First of all, Travion Henderson for the Patriots has been on fire. Had another couple of big runs, 52 and 65. Here was his 65-yard touchdown run.
Anybody who wants to say weak schedule, anybody who wants to say anything about him, these are the types of drives that they can show everyone.
Henderson bounces away, and Henderson is off to the races.
Look at May.
Does he have another one in him?
May sprung it.
He does. Touchdown. Goodbye, Travion Henderson.
Drake May leading the way. If you want a reason to believe in your team, if you want a reason to believe in your quarterback, if you want to follow somebody in the battle, you follow a guy who's going to sprint 50 yards down the field.
Yeah, how about that? How about Drake May sprinting all the way down there to throw a last-second block to spring his guy for the touchdown? He really kind of just got his way, but that's a good effort by that guy. All right, and then the game winner, of course, was James Cook, an 11-yard TD where he knifed through some people to put the Bills up 35-31, and they wound up winning it. Here it is, James Cook.
2nd and 1.
Love being called a second.
On a give, Cook slices through, and he takes it in for the touchdown.
All right, there you go. Bills, a very formidable opponent, especially in Buffalo for the Eagles in a couple of weeks. All right, let's get to the Ravens, 24-0 over the Bengals. If you've been following this Joe Burrow story, Joe Burrow last week said he wasn't having any fun. He was kind of moping around his post-game presser, and comes out and they throw a donut hole for the Cincinnati Bengals. They do not score. Mark Jackson threw for 2 touchdowns. Kyle Van Noy and Aloy Gilman teamed up for a 95-yard pick 6, which you'll hear in a second, as Baltimore blanks the Bengals. First time Joe Burrow has been shut out in his career. And Cincinnati was also eliminated from playoff contention. Burrow seems like a guy wants out of there. He was picked off twice. He did complete 25 of 39 passes for 225 yards, and Jamar Chase had 10 catches for 132 yards. But we've seen better Joe Burrows, and it looks like his whole thing is like he's done with Cincinnati. Maybe you trade him to a contender. Maybe that's what he's going to demand. Anyway, here is this pick 6. Unbelievable play. Kyle Van Noy intercepts it, and then kind of gives a handoff to Aloy Gilman. Here it is.
Is not shy to throw it to anybody who is in one-on-one situation. Burrow again kind of stumbles, and he's intercepted. Picked off by on the handoff. It's Gilman, and Gilman is going to score as the Ravens look for the knockout punch. 95 yards.
Okay, there you go. That's an unbelievable play right there. the Ravens with a monster interception play. It might have been the miracle of what the Tennessee pulled off many years ago on that play. But in any event, let's get to the Chargers and the Chiefs. I know you Chiefs fans are lamenting today. Your playoff hopes are over. You lost your quarterback. And this could be like the changing of the guard. The Kansas City Chiefs now have to rebuild from what they were, and they'll have a whole different team next year. It doesn't look like the quarterback will be ready to start the season. It doesn't look like Travis Kelce will be back with them. Anyway, the Chargers eliminate the Chiefs when Derwin James picked off a pass by Gardner Minshew, who had just taken over for the injured Patrick Mahomes in the closing seconds. 16-13, they beat the reigning AFC champions. Justin Herbert, again, playing through that broken left hand, threw for 210 yards and a touchdown. And the Chargers ensured consecutive 10-win seasons for the first time, completing a rare regular season sweep of Kansas City. Now, Mahomes was trying to rally the Chiefs in the closing seconds. He completed a series of passes to get across midfield by the 2-minute warning. But on the next play, he was scrambling around the Kansas City sideline, trying to throw the ball away when he was spun to the ground by Deshaun Hand, and he injured his knee on that play. So Minshew comes in to the game, completes 3 straight passes, but also has a delay of game penalty in that situation. And then right after that, here's what happened to our old pal Gardner Minshew.
And Pacheco remains the back, and Minshew to the air. And deep, and intercepted. It's picked off. Derwin James gets it.
Oh, boy. The mustache is still there. The ability still not there for Gardner Minshew. All right, let's go now to a very interesting game. The Colts and the Seattle Seahawks. Of course, this was the game where our man Phillip Rivers gets the start. First time in 5 years, 44-year-old guy coming off the mat for your Indianapolis Colts. But Jason Myers has been a big part of that for the Colts. And I got to X out of there right there. Okay. All right. Hold on a second. There we go. Get that out of there. All right. So Stafford, excuse me. We got an early touchdown pass by Phillip Rivers. I wanted people to hear this. Here's a guy who was in his living room coaching a high school football team. And by the way, they had the camera on the high school football team. They're all watching him the whole bit. And he comes back to play. And early in the game, throws a touchdown pass. Here it is to Josh Dunn.
Down and 4.
Downs.
Rivers, and he's got a man. Touchdown! That's Josh Downs, and that's Phillip Rivers with a touchdown pass. The 422nd touchdown pass of his career. And
Yeah, well, how about that? I mean, let me bring my producer Matt Miro in here. Matt, have you ever seen anything like that? This
no,
guy
I'm 30. I'm 30.
Out of his living room and doing what he did yesterday.
No, and to fans from Alabama watching at a local, TGI Fridays.
It was cool, wasn't it?
It was very neat.
All right. Lions and the Rams. That was a big game yesterday. And hold on a second here. I'm getting some sound that I'm not supposed to be getting. The Lions and the Rams. Let's hear Colby Parkinson, who got 2 touchdowns in this game, and a big game for Puka Nacua, by the way. 9 catches for 181 yards, including a big 39-yarder. The Rams clinched the playoff berth. Here's Colby Parkinson, 26-yard touchdown pass in the third quarter for a key score in the win by your Los Angeles Rams.
Stafford now going to float one far corner. Brought in and caught for the touchdown. Colby Parkinson, what a catch.
There you go. All right. We got some text coming in here. We got somebody texted in some Phillies news. The Phillies signed Adolis Garcia, 1 year, $10 million deal. How about that? That's breaking news here on the football show. Also, it's terrible to hear the way Joe Burrow. It's terrible to hear Joe Burrow, a young man, talking that way. Well, when you get beat down a lot, he's been hit more than any time, basically, than any quarterback has in a while. So, Tom Hennessy, he's got some praise for the Eagles. It wasn't all about who they were playing. Granted, the Raiders are the worst team in the NFL, but the way they ran the offense itself was a good sign. Designated quarterback runs under center, motion, new plays, low penalties, etc. I totally agree with that. I know a lot of people look at it like, okay, it was the Raiders. Who cares? What are we going to take from that? Well, you take what they did offensively, and offensively they were really good. All right. Also, J.S. Foreman has that was his best read and throw of the day. I'm assuming he's thinking of the A.J. Brown throw, which was my play of the game. Got to finish the sacks when they pressure Purdy. Okay, they had 4 sacks yesterday. I'm okay with that. So, yeah, there's no question they have to pressure Purdy if that's the playoff matchup that they're going to get. But, like I say, it could be anybody at this point. It's not going to be locked in at this particular point that it's the 49ers. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll recap everything that we did on this show a little earlier and give you the lowdown on how they actually won 31-0 yesterday. It is Birds Brunch with Mike Missanelli, back after this.
This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. Every champion needs a good game plan. BCWSA and I want to make sure you have a game plan when it comes to conserving our most precious resource, water. Whether you're washing dishes, brushing your teeth, or watering your garden, there are ways you can save water and save money. Visit bcwsa.net for tips on conserving water. BCWSA, proven.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Warm up this fall with an incredible seafood boil. Try the Uncle George with succulent snow crabs, tasty mussels, and shrimp. There's the Pete's Feast with 2 pounds of sweet succulent crab legs, a dozen shrimp, clams, and a pound of mussels. Or create your own boil. Add a lobster tail or a delicious Dungeness cluster. Include smoked sausage, corn, and potatoes, served in our tasty broth, made with white wine and our signature seasonings. A shellfish lover's dream at Chickies and Pete's.
Your day-to-day life is hectic between having to pick up the kids, make dinner, the countless other tasks that you got to get done. Rob's Automotive and Collision is there to make your life a whole lot easier. Make sure you take advantage of their spacious waiting rooms, the large flat-screen TVs, complimentary coffee and muffins, and free Wi-Fi. So even when you do have to stop, Rob's is there to make you feel right at home. Give Rob's a call today at 215-826-9200 for any of your auto repair needs.
All righty, welcome back to Birds Brunch with Mike Missanelli. We're going to get to our grades in a second, but yesterday, of course, the Philadelphia Eagles went 31-0. And it was a get-well game against the lousy team. Okay, I got that, granted. But they had a great formula for the win. Great defense, a running attack, conservative passing attack with a couple of shots down the field, which they did. Hurts running with his legs, some design runs, which I think they have to do. Even though you put the quarterback at peril, you have to kind of do that to balance your offense out. The Eagles had an offensive identity yesterday, under center, runs leading to play action. RPOs, shovel passes with a little motion with the tight end. All that stuff was really good, and it's stuff that I haven't seen before this year. Vic Fangio with a great defensive effort. First shutout since December 30th of 2018. Quinyon Mitchell, again, allowing less than 10 yards as a cornerback, which was fantastic. The last time the first shutout since December 30th, 2018 was a 21-0 game against the Washington Commanders back then. When I don't think they were the Commander. Yeah, I thought they were. Hurts, a very clean game, as opposed to last week where he was dirty. Very clean game. 12 for 15, 175, 3 TDs, 154.9 rating, 7 carries for 39 yards, the little RPO action, Goddard with the 2 TDs, deep ball to Devontae was all good. A beautiful throw in the seams for AJ. Very well designed play. AJ lined up in the slot, catches the touchdown on a great throw from Jalen Hurts. BG with 2 sacks, playing defensive tackle, although one kind of got wiped out. And the big question, does it really matter since it was the Raiders? That is what we'll have to talk about this week as we go through the parameters of this game. Does it mean anything? Does it mean anything as far as what you're going to see against the Commanders, because they're also a bad football team? So I want to take what they can do against the Commanders and what they did against the Raiders and apply it to the Bills. And that's the measuring stick I'll use to welcome the Eagles as they get into the playoffs. And we'll have a better idea by then as to where they stand and who they're going to be playing in the playoffs. All right, let me bring Miro in. This is our Goldilocks segment. Miro, these are the grades that the Inquirer gives the team. And I want to know from you whether it's too hot, too cold, or just right. All right?
Okay.
Is that fair?
Fair.
You ready for that?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Quarterback. A. You agree?
A+. I can't
A
see.
plus. You like
well,
A plus?
Yeah. Besides the opponent, I can't see a lot of variables.
Okay, almost a perfect rating. So
Correct.
Okay, I can go with A plus for you. Running back. The Inquirer says B in running back. What do you think?
I think we're skewing because of the running back we saw last year. Maybe what we assume we see this year. I would say that's maybe another. I'm going to add a plus to that one as well. We're right there. That's a solid day, for Saquon nowadays.
So you're going to go A plus on Saquon.
No, I'm sorry, B plus. I'm going to just add a plus to him as well.
Oh, you're going B plus. Okay, you're going to add a B plus to that. All right. Receiver, tight end, B plus was the grade that was given. Do you agree with that one?
I'm going to go B minus because this is 2 weeks in a row now. We've seen important drops from different individuals.
Oh, that touchdown drop left a mark, didn't it?
It did, a little bit.
All right.
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah. Darius Cooper drew an interference penalty. And A.J. Brown caught the big touchdown pass. Devontae Smith with a monster long ball catch. I don't know. I think maybe I would go A.
All right.
Offensive line, B minus. What do you think? Do we notice that the offensive line wasn't good enough to get an A?
Yeah, I really give them a little like teacher curve too, with Fred Jackson at right tackle and some other mixed in pieces. I think you're right, spot on with A. I think A.
Hey, but they did give up a sack, and that was Fred Johnson giving up that sack to Crosby. Otherwise they held them down. But the grade says that Tyler Steen struggled in short yardage run situations. I didn't really see a lot of that because I'm not like I don't look at this game like Jeff Stoutland. Like I look at every offensive guard or tackle to see what they're doing. I'm usually following the action. But if that's what the case is, that's what the case is. Defensive line, A. Agree?
Yeah, may add a plus on that because the tenured professor came in and had 2 sacks for this
Hard
group.
to believe, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hard to believe that this guy keeps going. Linebacker, A. I totally agree. I mean, the Kobe Dean has been all over the place. Zack Baun gets a pick. The Kobe Dean had 8 tackles in this game. There was a time when we looked at the Kobe Dean and he said, it's a wasted draft pick. He's not going to be the same player he was in college because he's a step slow.
No, and I think he's going to earn a big old contract in a couple months, Mike. I think you're right. Yeah.
And what do they do with Jahad Campbell?
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. Do you give the Kobe Dean a big contract when you drafted Jahad Campbell? I don't think they expected Kobe Dean to play that as well as he has played. So they do have a dilemma there. But I'm guessing that they would let him go if they have Jahad Campbell because otherwise Jahad Campbell doesn't play. All right, cornerback, A. Dory Jackson pass breakups on back-to-back plays before the half. Pickett, he averaged 2.56 yards per attempt. I had no room to look downfield at all. Quinyon Mitchell shut down his side completely. Cooper DeJean had a shaky start, but he settled down and made some numerous plays. So I would go A with the cornerback. How about you?
Yeah, in a passing league to hold Kenny Pickett to that, I have to go A+. I mean, it's in this modern day NFL, that's remarkable.
It really is. All right, safety. Marcus Epps and Reed Blankenship. Looks like they're going to be the starting safeties for a while now with with the injury back there. But they're Sidney Brown. Nah, didn't see much of him.
No. Yeah, you're right. What was the grade on that?
You're going to go A for safety yesterday?
What was their grade? A as well? It was
A. A, yep.
Yeah, I guess, and for all purpose, yeah, sure. A sounds good. That sounds correct.
The Rookie Council of Football, not going to see much action. Sidney Brown, as I call him. Special teams, pretty good. Jake Elliott, perfect on his kicks, although the winds were a little heavy, so we'll give him credit. He didn't have a crazy long kick. Britton Covey averaged 7.3 yards on 3-punt returns. Let me ask you a question about Covey, because when I see Covey, I've made this reference before. Are you old enough to remember those like little wooden toys where you press the bottom of it? There was a button on the bottom. You pressed it, and the little man collapsed.
Yes.
They were like held together with string.
Yes, I did.
Right.
Yeah.
Every time Britton Covey gets hit on one of these returns, I think of that guy.
There is some worry. I sometimes the football looks heavier than him out there. I get a little leery.
When he gets rocked, he really gets rocked.
You're right.
All right. The Eagles win 31-0 against the Raiders. Not much else to say except that they're pretty perfectionist. Defensively and offensively, it was a good showing by the Eagles, a good get-well game. They break a 3-game losing streak. They're headed for 2 games left with the Commanders and 1 with the Bills, and we'll see what's up. Anything? Little wooden toys. Steve Savino says little wooden toys. Mike, how old are you? Wait, you don't have to be that old to remember these little wooden toys. Miro's a young guy. He remembered them.
I remember.
You used to press the bottom of it. You used to get them in where did you get them? Like little toy stores would have those little things in a little basket, like they were $1 or something.
Uh-huh.
And they amused a little kid. You press the bottom of it and they collapse.
That's right. I remember.
All right. In any event, thanks everybody for joining the chat. Thanks everybody for tuning into the show. Birds Brunch with Mike Missanelli. It's after every Eagles game. Don't forget, we have our podcast Thursday coming up with Anthony Sanfilippo. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up in a couple of days. Everybody else, have a great rest of the day. We hope you shoveled out of your snow and everything is all good with you. You got a lot of ice out there, so be careful. So get your salt out there, get it melted. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.